So we've got Lisa Frank Incorporated, home of the unicorns and sparkly dolphins. Lisa herself has stepped away to be with her kids, leaving her husband, James, in charge of the company. James is, I think it's safe to say, struggling? Yeah. His bad behavior is starting to have a huge effect on the company, but he's not alone. He's got himself a partner in crime, helping him do all the dirty work. This is where we welcome to the stage Rhonda Roulette. I looked her up on Facebook. She looks like a Rhonda. Hey, girl. Now, Rhonda, she started at the company way back in 1984 as Lisa's assistant. She was there for quite some time, to say the least. And shortly after James took over as CEO, an interesting promotion happens. Miss Rhonda is bumped up to vice president at Lisa Frank Incorporated. Rhonda must have had a very impressive resume because she also oversees HR, legal, and licensing. Oh yeah, she was in charge of a lot of big shit that maybe she shouldn't be in charge of. She must have been an incredible worker. Just a little observation, but if your company is killing it, has hundreds of employees, why would any business hire one person to handle 3 different departments? Eye roll. Make it make sense. It doesn't, but okay. Anyway, pretty soon coworkers are starting to notice that Rhonda and James, they seem very close. And an employee even saw them at the mall together on a holiday weekend, you know, hanging out, spending the holiday weekend at the mall with your boss, which doesn't sound that bad. But they're both married, and then rumors just start flying around the office that Rhonda and James, they're slapping meats. Rhonda was the one who had James's back in the office. She was there at every turn, very loyal to this man. She interrogated people on his behalf, and when James didn't want to confront someone, he'd send Rhonda. She did, again, lots of his dirty work, just firing people, intimidation, you name it, Rhonda was on it. When employees would come to Rhonda for help or questions, or maybe to report something to HR because, you know, they're being mistreated, Rhonda would simply tell them to just get over it. Rhonda, she was really good at keeping the employees in check. I guess everyone was like really afraid of her. Just get over it. Oh, that's all I have to do? Just get over it? Oh, shit. I'm cured. Thanks, Rhonda. The worst part of all was that she was head of HR, and if you had a problem at Lisa Frank Incorporated, sorry, that was on you. The company even put out an employee newsletter a couple times a year with words of motivation and encouragement for their employees. There was like one month, I saw this picture online. In the newsletter, there was this cute little column full of instructions on how to be a good employee. It basically said, like, employees need to always be thinking about how to please their boss. Your boss can make or break your career. And if you have a bad relationship with your boss, well, that's your fault. You're not being loyal enough, sweetie. Just try harder. That's what it said in this pamphlet. Like, again, oh, that's it? Okay, great. Oh, and then we haven't even gotten to the cocaine. I mean, we weren't there, so we don't really know for sure, but previous employees would later say that Rhonda and James were, quote, pretty big into coke, end quote, which may explain the paranoia, chair throwing, the tantrums. Can you imagine? Remember, this is all happening in this really cute office with like rainbows and like glitter everywhere. And he's over here, James, he's trying to act like Scarface, but in Candyland. Rhonda and James were pulling shit like withholding paychecks, cutting commission rates, messing up people's 401k, rude, and even told an employee they couldn't take work off to go to a family funeral. Now, if you thought that was bad, get this. One day an employee left the office 10 minutes early, and when James found out this happened, oh bitch, he was livid. He was raging. There were even rumors that he instructed his managers to chain the doors shut so people could not leave. Could you imagine if your job did that? It kind of reminded me of the Triangle Shirtwaist factory fire. Do you remember we did an episode on that? They like chained the doors. They kept the employees in because they didn't want them stealing. Yeah, he's lucky it didn't end the same way. Yeah, that was actually an awful story, but moving on. So all of this is happening and the company's reputation was just in the toilet. Nobody had anything good to say about the Lisa Frank company, at least working for it. So, of course, James wouldn't take any responsibility for the decline of happiness within the workplace. Instead, he just avoided blaming himself at all costs. He was notorious for pushing meetings with the art department and then blaming them when artwork didn't arrive on time. Oh yeah, he would delay approving products and then make excuses to the buyers. And it turns out that James wasn't just bad to work for, he was just toxic to work with. I mean, I guess he's consistent. I'm always trying to find a bright side to things, you know? I also don't think the cocaine, alleged cocaine, helped him at all. But I'm sure he was having a fun time. So the company internally was suffering from all the chaos. The turnover rate was crazy high. The entire staff basically quit and had to be replaced once a year. People were dropping like flies, and folks were talking. Anywhere you went in Tucson, word on the street was like, girl, you do not want to work at Lisa Frank. They chain the doors and throw chairs at you. You know? So nobody wants to work there unless you're like desperate. Despite James's best efforts to just destroy everything, people are still buying the products. I mean, sales are still very strong. And in fact, the company is approached to make a Lisa Frank television show, which like makes sense because they're on top of the world. And each of the like those colorful animal characters were gonna like have their own names and backstories. It could have been the next Care Bears. It could have been great. So what happened? James happened. Of course, you know this. For some reason, James and Rhonda fired the entertainment lawyer that Lisa brought on to help negotiate a potentially huge Hollywood movie and TV deal because they were like, well, we don't need help. We could just do it ourselves. Spoiler alert. They couldn't. The whole thing fell through and the project ended up dying. R.I.P. By 2004, important buyers like Yarget are starting to refuse to do business with the company because James is difficult to work with. You know, he got that title, difficult to work with, which you don't want that because then nobody works with you. So at this point, the company has low morale, high turnover rates, and is losing out on what seems like no-brainer business deals. It's unfortunate that we ended up with so many troll movies, but like no Lisa Frank show. We were robbed. Now, rumors that the CEO was sleeping with the VP and doing blow in the office were circling round and round. Honestly, sounds like a party. But it gets back to Lisa. She gets wind of it and maybe starts to catch on to the whole Rhonda and James situation. If there is one, allegedly. We don't really know for sure, but at the very least, she starts to realize it's time to take back her company and clean up the freaking mess that James made. Lisa decides to return full-time with the goal of bringing the company back to its glory days. But when she comes back, it was a very different place than when she left it. One employee said that the original work environment at Lisa Frank used to be vibrant and full of energy. But now it had turned into a place of, quote, intimidation and insecurity, end quote. When Lisa returned, James and Rhonda made it clear to the employees, you're either Team James or Team Lisa. Pick a side, bitches. Yeah, and this was serious, okay? They being James and Rhonda, they were going as far as bugging phones and reading employee emails to find out which team these employees were on. And if they found out you were on Team Lisa, chairs coming at your head. You better watch out. You better duck. You know what I'm saying? For example, I guess the sales department was labeled Team Lisa and communication from James and Rhonda basically stopped. And the sales team, they were suddenly only allowed in certain parts of the building. Jeez. Anytime someone from sales needed something for their job from Team James, they would be shut down and told, oh, why don't you go ask Lisa? It's just so childish. Awful. And a ton of the sales team, of course, they're going to quit because they felt like they can't even do their jobs. What was the point? Plus, everyone's being mean to them. Like, what is this? It just seems weird that James would sabotage the sales department, aka the department that's making the company money, because, you know, like, it seems like he likes money. So I don't know why he would do that. but okay. So when Lisa came back to the office, she wasn't just trying to bring her company back, she was trying to take her life back. In 2005, Lisa filed for divorce from James, telling her close friends that she could no longer put up with his emotional abuse. I mean, obviously none of us know what happens behind closed doors, but if James treated the employees like shit, I can't imagine what he said to his own family. I mean, she's divorcing him, so maybe I can kind of guess. When Lisa presents the divorce, obviously, James, pissed. And it wasn't because he was about to lose his wife and family. Nay. He was panicking because he was about to lose the thing that he seemed to love the most. Cocaine. No, I'm just kidding. Money.